In the late 1800s, one name carried both fortune and death. Sara Winchester married into the family responsible for the Winchester rifle, a weapon so widespread it gained the reputation, the gun that won the West. But with this fortune sadly followed misfortune. With the death of her infant daughter and then the death of her husband, Sara Winchester was left the heir to the Winchester fortune. A fortune she believed was cursed by the thousands of people who had lost their lives to a Winchester rifle. After consulting a medium, she then believed the only way to appease these spirits was to start building a house and never stop building. So, in 1885, she moved to California and began building her house. She purchased an existing two-story farmhouse and began around-the-clock renovations and expansions that lasted almost 40 years. One of these expansions included what is now known as her own personal seance room, a room where it is said that every night she would go and commune with the dead and receive instructions on what to build next. Something that people use to explain the confusing layout of her house. Stairs that lead to nowhere, doors that lead to drops, labyrinth-like hallways, windows to walls and other rooms. Theories are that the labyrinth-like layout of her house was simply to confuse or trap the spirits that were haunting her. Others say it was to appease them, since the number 13 is scattered throughout her house. 13 bedrooms, 13 steps on staircases, 13 pane windows. When you look at a house like this, the first question that comes to mind is, was she crazy, or was there something more paranormal going on? The truth is, the confusing layout of the house was never really paranormal. It was simply a result of the Great San Francisco earthquake of 1906. This earthquake destroyed a multitude of buildings, and the Winchester house was no outlier. It lost its top 3 stories, leaving those doors that at some point led to balconies, the staircases that at some point led to rooms. Sara Winchester simply boarded up what was left, renovated what she could, and what she couldn't, she simply left and ignored. That's the main reason for the weird architecture of this house. Sadly, the tale of Sara Winchester is greatly exaggerated. Her seances were not the result of a crazy woman stricken with grief trying to commune with her husband and her daughter. They were simply the norm at the time. In a time shortly after the Civil War, where most of America had been closely impacted by death, it became common to try and commune with the afterlife. Sara Winchester was simply one of many who was partaking in a new practice that people had turned to as a way to deal with grief when traditional religious outlets just weren't enough. And her labyrinth-like house was not the result of a crazy woman who was trying to confuse the spirits that were haunting her. It was simply the remains of a home devastated by a natural disaster. Sara Winchester herself said, "It looks as though it had been built by a crazy person." The legend of the Winchester Mystery Mansion is simply over-exaggerated because it sells admission tickets, and they need this money to maintain this old Victorian home because that's not cheap. The truth is, a lot of these mysteries often get over-embellished because people love mysteries. People love to tell compelling stories, and the story of a woman that went crazy with grief and tried to commune with spirits and ended up building a labyrinth-like home is a lot more compelling than a woman whose house simply got destroyed by an earthquake. The more I dive into these mysteries, the more I realize people love to over-embellish facts. And honestly, it's kind of fun digging through the legend and finding the actual facts and presenting to you what I find. If you have any other mysteries in mind that you'd like me to talk about, go ahead and leave them in the comment section and maybe consider subscribing. I will be making a lot more videos like this in the future. Something about learning about the facts and how that story got changed along the way is actually very interesting to me. Maybe it's weird, but I enjoy it. But that's going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know. Do you think that it was simply a legend taken too far? Or was there something more? As always, this has been Yuki. I'll see you guys next time. I hope you have yourself a good rest of your day.